All right. Good afternoon. This is Penelope Flynn with James, Nikki, Cranston, and Otto, and Sonia, who popped out and she's popped back in. There's Sonia. And we are here this afternoon in the Otherhood to discuss sinners and attracting the horror. Before we get started, however, on this lovely July 13th, 2025 edition of our show, we are going to talk about the weather. And James, you are top center. How is the weather in New York City?
Right now it's 82 degrees. The humidity is low, thank God, and it's partially sunny.
Oh.
And looking out my window, there's nobody on Mill Rock Island.
And what is Mill Rock Island?
It's a little island in the middle of the East River.
Okay. I would hope that nobody would be there. That's a good thing to not be there. It doesn't sound like it's a fun place to be, but okay. Yeah. So is this good, bad? Is it consistent weather? Was it like this all week?
No, all week it was nothing but humidity. Okay,
Okay.
everybody was melting in New York.
And now you got a little bit of respite, a little.
Yeah.
Good. Glad to hear it. All right, Nikki, how is your weather in sunny South Florida?
It is not sunny today. I just heard a few claps of thunder.
Wow.
So it's getting ready to rain. It's cloudy outside.
Wow. Okay. Has it been that way all week?
No. Mm-mm.
It's
Um
been partly sunny or
it's been sunny, but yesterday though, yesterday it rained a little, but today it looks like it's about to pour down.
okay. All right. All right. And Sonia, how's your weather? You always have interesting weather. We never know.
Yeah. Yesterday we were in a heat advisory. It felt like 100. Um, Today it's only feeling like 85. So it's a little cooler. It rained in the evening, and I'm hoping it rains again this evening. It's still hot, but it's not. I'm melting hot.
And are
You
you
know,
expected to stay this way, or are you
it's
get
going to go
bad weather?
up and down all week. It climbed up, and now it's going down. Then it'll climb back up again, and then back down. It goes a little further down every time.
Okay. Cool. All right, Cranston. How's Jacksonville?
Okay, we have been in the low 90s all week and overcast and rainy, so it hasn't been too hot and hasn't been too wet, but it's just tolerable.
Tolerable. Is it like the Goldilocks weather? Not too hot, not too cold, but it's
Yeah,
not just
that's
right.
it's
It's
like that
just
just right. Yeah.
yeah, okay. But for the season, I guess. All right. And Otto, how's the weather?
Oh
Well,
boy.
okay, see there already, man.
Hmm.
That's the thing. I try to be nice. I just
Okay.
trying to be. I just trying to be nice. The
All
last
right.
the last the last week was a two spray week. And when I say two spray week, I mean it's so hot you need an antiperspirant and a deodorant. You
Yeah.
can't go
Ba-dum-bum.
with one. And it was hot, but it's dropped
Ba-dum-bum.
now. It's dropped now to like 83 degrees, which is a little more tolerable. But man, that last week, one can of Menins and one can of Old Spice,
Yeah. And it rained.
and it rained too,
And it
and it
rained.
was hot, and
Ooh,
hot rain.
I don't know if I'm gonna be there for 2 months now.
Yeah,
Well,
it's just got.
you can stay where you are and watch
No,
the Hillbilly Bears or something like that.
Yeah. I forgot about Hillbilly
TV
Bears.
cartoons when I get
I
there.
forgot about
You
that
can watch the
show.
Hillbilly Bears. A woman's
That's
Yeah.
what
almost
I'm watching now for real. I'm not lying. I'm watching Hillbilly Bears right now. The one
Yeah.
that you can't understand, he's in outer space.
Oh, great.
exactly.
What
Right.
about the great grape ape?
Grape Ape. Oh, that's
Yeah,
the
but that
worst.
too.
Oh, they
That's
don't show that,
absolute
thank
worst.
God.
We get
Absolute
a
worst.
big ass ape and put him on a Volkswagen. That's what.
That is like the worst show ever. That and
It
Jabberjaws.
was.
Yeah,
And
that's
Jabberjaws was really
what were
bad
they
too.
thinking? That's
Yeah,
what were they thinking?
yeah,
They
that.
weren't thinking. What they weren't thinking.
Yeah, but Jabberjaws was terrible.
But
Grape
I
Ape
do like.
was terrible.
But I do like Hillbilly Bears though.
I liked a little bit the Hair Bear Bunch because like here come the bears, help, help, here come the bears, the Hair Bear
Let's
Bunch.
split.
Yeah, It's the Hair Bear Bunch. Y'all remember that show, right?
Unfortunately, I do. Yes.
Yeah,
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 yeah. That
yeah,
was
yeah,
that was
yeah, yeah.
bad.
We do, we do.
Yeah, those of us, and this our blurs of a certain age group. Yeah, we remember those good shows.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. We remember it
Uh,
like the last presidential election. Yeah.
okay, there
that
we go.
that was cold
All right,
now.
now everybody in this on panel has seen Sinners except for Nikki, right?
Exactly.
Everybody else has seen it.
Yes.
All
Yes.
right. Yes. Okay. Now it's not, and Nikki, I know you said that you had not seen it. You won't be able to really contribute, but
Now
it's
y'all
not
go
just
ahead and talk
about.
about it.
Yeah.
I'll listen because I
Okay, but
have
it's
no
not
plans.
just about. It's not just about the thing itself, but also some of the background cultural things that
Mm-hmm.
we see showing up, and to talk about even those cultural things, even if you didn't see the film, but we can talk about those cultural issues. Um, for instance, the opening of Sinners. I mean, again, everybody has seen it. If you have not seen it, it is a film by Ryan Coogler. It is Afro-Southern based horror film with, of course, the main horror uh, persons as vampires. So if you have not seen it, I suggest you try to look at IMDb. I think tells you where you can get it for rent or for own. And I believe was it Max
Right.
is streaming
HBO,
it.
yeah.
HBO Max is streaming it now, but I don't know whether they're streaming it and you have to still pay extra for it, or whether they're
Mhm.
streaming it and it's just part of the streaming service. So
It's
you
part of
don't
the
have to.
streaming service, but it,
Mhm.
it, it has commercials.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Wait, wait,
Ah,
Mm-hmm.
wait a minute.
Yeah,
Hold on.
but yeah,
I
our commercials were only at the beginning and the end.
wait a minute. Wait
okay.
a
No,
minute.
no,
Hold
it's
up.
because
Hold
my
up.
roommates paid extra for it, though.
Wow.
Wait a minute. I have Max, right?
Mhm.
And you mean to tell me that I'm going to watch this movie? I saw it. I saw it already a couple of times.
Mhm.
And you mean to tell me that I'm going to watch this movie and they got commercials on Max?
Yeah.
I'm watching it right now. I'm mad as hell. I'm
If
going
you
to
have
check
the
What?
let.
service, though, I don't think you get the commercials.
What's
If you
that?
Uh,
bought if you bought the streaming service, the
mhm.
regular cable stuff, you don't have commercials. Or if you paid for the premium package, you
Okay.
don't
Yeah.
have commercials. It's if you
Okay.
bought
I
at one level though that it would.
Okay.
Yeah. It's in
Well,
our pack. It's included in our package and the premium. But if I see a commercial, I'm writing a letter to Mr. Max.
Oh
I'm gonna say, what the
boy,
hell?
oh boy, oh boy.
yeah, but I think also when we talk about stuff like that, that's really important because things behind the paywall also limit our ability to talk about certain things, and so to have it at max where you can get the premium stream is great, but where you are looking at it and they're still making you watch commercials, I guess that's just the price of admission. But I think it's worth it to be able to you know check this film out. And again, it's a Ryan Coogler film. It is based in a lot of our Southern, Afro-Southern lore, not just Afro-Southern, also just for the period. It is, really important period. I guess this is right after 1920, and very interesting because these men, so revolves around two twin brothers and their desire to come back to the South to open up their own juke joint, and which I believe is going to make them, rich or at least very comfortable. And so I think the thing about this film, it touches on a lot of issues, the Great Migration and then the return for the Great Migration, and how it is that we find ourselves the positions that we're in economically, socially. Does anybody have any really strong feelings about it that they want to just kind of start off with?
Um, I guess you could say okay, with me, I have my moments with certain films, right?
Hmm.
We all know that like with Glory,
Yes.
near the end
Mm-hmm.
with the campfire scene, and also when Matthew Broderick slaps his horse on the butt to send it to the rear. The scene in Amistad where the slaves were thrown overboard.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Actually, those scenes brought tears to my eyes. The montage scene in the juke joint did the same thing.
Really?
Yeah,
Man, James, you
Yes.
you you like Roberta Flack. You playing my you strumming, playing my song, man. Cause I gotta say that was the same thing with me.
yeah, yeah. The whole, in fact, I kid you not, my eyes are watering now because that whole scene where it, incorporated the different forms of music, okay, that people created, and especially when I think Delroy Lindo says, "We brought this from home,"
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
okay, that I was like, wow, and I saw it, with the scratching and then the brother playing the guitar,
Yes.
which he was like a cross between Jimi Hendrix and Eddie Hazel from Parliament Funkadelic,
Mm-hmm.
and just that whole scene. In fact, I would submit to you guys that if you got, especially Nikki,
Yeah.
if you go back to Earth, Wind and Fire live
Mm-hmm.
and you play the song New World Symphony,
Gratitude
okay,
album. Okay.
right, Gratitude. If you play that song is almost like the same thing from this movie,
Really?
except for it's in movements. Okay, it goes
Okay.
from that song does the same thing. It goes from an African theme to
Mm-hmm.
jazz to salsa to a Caribbean theme to funk,
Mm-hmm.
a bit of rock. It's almost the same progression.
Really?
Okay.
And again, that montage, and even with the Asian woman in it,
Mm-hmm.
okay, again, that brought back memories of back in the day growing up in Bronx River. We had a bar across the street called Arthur's Round Table, and we in Arthur's Round Table you actually had a Chinese cook that used to make Chinese food, and he would at one point he would get out and party with everybody else in the
Mm.
bar.
Yeah.
You know,
That
And
that's that's why that's why it made me. I felt the same way like you, James, because I remember we were all mixed up back in the day, and nobody cared. The people didn't seem to care. It was like you know, real scratching, using real turntables,
hmm
not this electronic nowadays, but just real stuff.
hmm
And and the fact is, like Penelope theme of the show was like, I feel like it's not appropriation. It's not. I don't call it appropriation. I don't think maybe that's the right
mhm.
word for it. I don't know whether it is or not.
I
But
think
basically,
assimilation is almost it. It's like the
yeah. But
Borg.
it's
You get your
it's
stuff
more
and they.
it's more it's more egregiously done. It's more like when we were out on the in the street in the schoolyard doing that and dancing and you know dancing to the turntables and the hip hop and
right.
back in the day. That was so much joy. It was more joy than I can express to anybody on
Mm-hmm.
it. Just more joy, and I feel that it was taken away, and what we have now is joyless. It's
Mhm.
Well,
commercial.
and
It's
and,
not.
and if
It's not what it was.
It was
and
more of a melding back
yeah,
then than taking over.
Yeah.
and, and if I could say real quick, it's also appropriation and assimilation because of the fact that that's one scene hit so many notes with me, especially with the appropriation in that guitar player that looked like a cross between Jimi Hendrix
Hmm.
and Eddie Hazel. That reminded me of how our music was basically, especially financially, was taken away from us
Hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
a big name in the music industry back in the day, you had this gentleman named Mo Levy. Mo Levy ran Roulette Records here in New York, and he was notorious for ripping off
Hmm.
artists Okay, he would even do stuff like take their name off of the writing credits and put his name on there.
What?
Yeah,
Mm.
and he got so bad, and he also got caught up in the underworld where he got so bad where one time he was walking down a Manhattan street one night, and a guy from the mafia came to deliver a message, and that guy punched him in the face so hard that it knocked one of his eyes out of his socket.
Ooh.
Wow.
Okay, and also you have the case with the gentleman that ran Westbound Records. Okay, by the time he got finished with George Clinton, okay, he owned the rights to the first five albums of Funkadelic.
You gotta be kidding.
Yeah, or rather the Funkadelic side on Westbound Records, because George Clinton made the mistake of he would also ask for advances, and he kept asking for advances on the profits from the album, and I think the gentleman's name was Armin Bogosian or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he basically took the rights from the first couple of albums of Funkadelic on Westbound Records.
Mm.
Wow.
But
So
you know
with
the
yeah,
thing
go
that
ahead.
jumps out at me in hip hop is, and rap music is that it was so organic. It like it's almost like in Sinners, it wasn't written down for the most part.
Hmm.
It couldn't be reproduced. It wasn't burned on no tape. It wasn't burned on no vinyl. You know, every schoolyard, every block party, every turntable scratch. It was organic, and so they
Hmm.
couldn't capture it. That's what we thought. They couldn't capture it, but they took it, and they left us with with,
Mhm.
with, with a crack cocaine epidemic.
Yep.
That was left behind.
Yeah,
But like the
well,
thing that we thought they couldn't catch, they couldn't capture, they couldn't be captured was captured and
you
you know.
well, I mean,
Yeah.
if you go to the Urban Prospector site, I think you guys saw that I had put a YouTube video of a party in Bronx River houses.
Hmm.
Okay, so if you want to get a taste of that, and actually somewhere in my closet, I have a cassette tape of nothing but beats because back then that was my thing to get records and look for I guess looking for the perfect beat.
The beat,
Wow. There
but
you
the thing
go.
is,
Now
look,
that was
here's
my song. That was my jam.
here's the thing: you get
Yeah.
your beat, you get your beat. Let's say you did the
Hmm.
"Love Is the Message" beat, right? You did that beat, right? "Love Is the
Hmm.
Message,"
Mhm.
right? And you do your thing, and you get on your turntable, you do your thing. Somebody come right behind you and do a totally new what you call it,
Hmm.
because it was so organic. It was so like the source material was there, but then the other thing it couldn't be really repeated, and so it's like it was beyond their touch. It's like the guy in Sinners. He's singing, and
Hmm.
it's across the whole
Yeah.
so-called diaspora of music,
Yeah. And Remick
and
hears this,
yeah,
and
the dude, it's not appropriation, it's something else,
yeah,
something
he.
more sinister.
I mean, but it's not. It's again. In the one hand, you can call it sinister, but on the other hand, it is from Remick's point of view, it is a longing. For him, from his perspective, for everything that is lost. And this man is able, with his voice, to reach back and recapture everything that is gone, everything that he has seen and that has been lost. And he is covetous, and he wants this ability, this skill, talent to be able to sing and sing these things into existence, to sing memories, into existence. That's something else. And so again, it's like if you saw it, if you heard it, if you thought you could get it, would you? You know, would you try to get it?
Well, it wasn't meant to be gotten. That's the thing. It wasn't.
Yeah, I know. I
It
mean, so,
wasn't
but
meant
would you
to be
try?
mass.
But
It wasn't meant to be mass produced.
but if you could, and he wasn't mass producing it. Remick was assimilating it. He was, eating it, consuming it, making it part of him. just like everybody else that was, brought into that, whole vampire. Uh,
But that's like getting something that's strong
hmm
and watering it down. You know, and
No, I think it's the opposite.
I don't
I
think it's.
think
I
it's
don't
I
think
think
the.
it's getting this thing that is strong, and it's not like well, from my perspective, or the perspective of the person that is taking it, he is able to take you and incorporate your memories, your life, you know, and all that you are, everything that you were. So for him, it's again, it's not different with the Borg, that I assimilate you and add to my perfection. And that's what it is, trying to get this thing and make it part of me, like he's done everything else. I mean,
But
of
but but
course, it's
what?
not
He,
good for the people that he
yeah,
took it from,
he
but
saw this, he saw it as a preservation and food where everyone else would just say, I'm just going to take it and make something out of it, claim
yeah,
it to be mine.
but I think it's not. I think it's more. It's not food
So,
to me.
mhm.
It's something else. And I know that at one time that Otto and I would have a conversation about this, like the horror of it. The concept of coming here and there, biting you in the blood because he wants to make a new nation. So he is taking you into his new nation, where he tells the brothers that you came here and basically you are kidding yourself. You're fooling yourself by thinking that these people will ever let you have anything. They will never let you have anything, right?
Mhm.
So why are you trying? This thing I'm giving you is part of something that you will be equal within this thing that I am offering you, to be part of this new regime, and you know, Otto and I discussed it, and he was saying now, but all the they're basically they're biting you, exsanguinating you, uh, mutilating you, injuring you, causing you deep pain. There's a but from my perspective, being, a mother, 5 times over, you know, in order to create new life, to birth something new, there will be blood and there will be pain. That's not a new concept for women. So it may be another reason why, um, they have what's name Mary. And although once you change, you're changed. Right before you're changed, you will resist it, with everything you've got because you're holding on to your old life. But once you move to the new life, then all you are about is the new life, right? You know, so
Mm-hmm.
she's in her new life, and these are the rules of my new life. And it comes with blood, it comes with pain, but guess what? It also comes with the ability for me to be able to fight these hordes of people that come up against me. And if you are a person, especially a black person during that period, that seems like a pretty fair trade-off. I mean, I have to say that is, my concept, my Renfield's books that I started writing, that being hybrids of humans and quote unquote vampires, that the concept of Renfield's is that they have the best of both worlds. And as a black female, who the leads in Renfield's are black females, that the ability to always know that you can defend yourself, defend the people that you love, that's a huge inducement. People say, well, you gotta, sell your soul for it. And it's kind of like, well, you know, uh, what are my other options? To stay here and be denigrated, beaten, bloodied, robbed from, stolen from. I mean, the one scene where they are talking about making their money. And I'm going to tell you, in all honesty, remember the old saying, don't take any wooden nickels? I never knew what that meant until I saw this
Mhm.
film. When the plantation owners are paying people in plantation money, which is just these coins and stuff that they make out of wood and
Mm.
that you get to use at their stores, but they don't have any value anywhere else. And so
Right.
these people come to their club and they're trying to pay for their entrance and the drinks or whatever with these wooden nickels that have no value. And so all the money they thought that they were going to be able to make, they're not going to be able to make it because
Basically, they're paying with like store credit from us.
that's right.
for
Mhm.
And
people
Yeah,
in store.
what are you going to do with that? For you, that's not helping you any. It certainly helps the
Mm-mm.
store, but it's not going to help you.
yeah. Well, that was a situation in the late 19th century, going into the 20th century, not just with sharecroppers and plantations, but also factories.
Hmm.
The
The factory
company
stores, yeah,
stores
the stores, yeah.
and whatnot, and that's how it was not just for black folk, but for white folk also.
All
Get
working people, all
Yeah,
working
or yeah,
people.
the working class people. Getting back to what you're saying, yeah, I get it because that's kind of like the same situation with my characters. Okay,
Hmm.
at the end of what I call the pilot episode, the first short story I wrote about Madison Cavendish and Seneca Sue, near the end, she comes to his apartment. She tells him, "Listen, the old Madison Cavendish is dead.
Hmm.
Okay, the old Seneca Sue is dead. We're we're into a whole new world now.
That's right.
And it's just time." She tells him it's time for us to move on, and Madison finally gets it because she tells him to to breathe deeply, and he does, but he lets out a vampire hiss.
Hmm.
And he really gets it when Seekmith the cat comes out of the hat box, and the cat has like five freaking tentacles and three eyes.
Okay. Well, this is new.
Yeah, which, spoiler alert, in later stories, the second to last story, Seekmith converts into human form for good. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, and see, another thing that hits note with me with this movie is that this is what I've been telling people, and I even wrote an essay about it for horroraddicts.net, where with the black diaspora, the black community,
Hmm.
black folk in America, we're also going to be damned if we do, damned if we don't. Okay, we're always going to be damned if we do,
I
damned if
agree. I
we
agree
don't.
with that because I
Okay,
think you can't think of any other community that's been mined the way our community has been mined, and
yeah,
stuff taken out and or stuff or given away, right, and nothing left behind. It's
yeah,
like I can't think of any other. Can you think of any other community? And the thing is, it's your community is under attack. It's like like you're saying, the terror, Penelope, the
Hmm.
danger. Like your community is under attack. They want what you got, and that's when they
Yeah.
get it. You left behind with a
yeah,
bunch of whatever they leave behind.
yeah. And even if you try to do the right thing, I mean, metaphorically, look at the end of the first Night of the Living Dead. With
Yep.
Okay, with all all that running
After all that.
around that Dwayne Jones character does, and then he gets a bullet in the head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, so you know, I tell people this is what it is. We're damned if we do, damned if we don't.
yeah.
They want our music, okay, but they don't want us.
And
And
that culture, and the
yeah,
culture. I want to
yeah,
dress like you. I don't want to live next to you. I want to dance like you. I don't want to live next to you. I want
Hmm.
to. I want to. I want to listen to your music. I want to sing it. What you call it? You once again not
Hmm.
interested in living next to you.
Okay. Oh, by the way, I had to ask a question, James. What is the name of the first book? Is it the Cavendish Affair, the Passage of Time
well,
Saga, or with the Hearst Affair? Which one is the
oh,
first book?
the name of the book is Terror by Night.
So Terror by Night, the anthology,
Yeah,
is
Terror
the one that
by
has
Night.
everything. Okay.
Yeah, and the
Right.
first story in Terror by Night is the Cavendish Affair.
Okay.
And even with that, it's a back and forth between Madison and Sue about passing.
Hmm.
You
And
know,
I love that
And
that story of James. What was the name of it that I read? It was absolutely. I just love that story so
The
much.
werewolf story.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that story so
yeah.
much.
Which one?
The one
It
that
was
yeah, that I had to read. I had to read.
because you couldn't show up for the reading, and he did the reading for you.
Yeah, I
The
love that
one
story.
with
Stumpville? Was it?
I
That's
forgot the name. I forgot the name of it, but it was so good.
Oh well, thank you. I think I got something in my eye.
You
oh
know
my
what?
goodness.
Take
Is
the
it?
take whatever out of your take whatever out of your.
Yes, and this is Terror by Night is the name of the anthology, which
Yeah,
is
Yeah,
kind of it's like an anthology, but it's actually a collection, right?
yeah, correct.
Because it is the stories, it is the affairs, not affairs, but the case studies, the cases of Madison Cavendish and Seneca Sue Some Mountain. So if you don't have a copy, you should go pick up a copy. There it
There,
is. There's a link.
there you
This
go.
down here. This is the link. That's the Amazon link, but you can
Oh,
find it
okay.
on your own. Terror
but
by
but
Night.
the mining, you can't think of another community. I mean, we could talk about the wood nickels and the company towns
Hmm.
and all that stuff, but you can't think of any other of culture, other ethnicity, other I guess what else you call
Yeah,
it?
but you know
I'm not
what?
gonna
But I
say
want to
race.
say, but I'm
Go
sure that
ahead,
there
go ahead.
are other cultures and ethnicities and
In this
nationalities.
country,
But you,
in
you know,
this
but it's.
country,
But I'm going to say, but it's just like with us. Once they assimilate your thing and take your thing, then it's their thing,
Right.
And then it's almost like you say, well, hey, that was our like jazz, right? Well, no, no, not jazz.
jazz,
More importantly,
gospel,
rock
rock,
and blues
blues,
and
rap,
and
hip
those
hop.
those but those things like for now it's like when you say rock, these people act like that's a room you can't walk into,
That's right.
without understanding that we were the ones who
That's
created
right.
rock and roll. We're the
That's
ones
like
who
you
Yeah,
created
going
rock.
to the
Yeah,
speakeasy, like they looking through the
yeah.
hole and looking at you.
yeah. In
So
fact, I would tell people that anytime you get a person of another group talking about rock, tell them to go to YouTube and listen to the song Rocket 88. Okay, Rocket 88 is basically the first rock and roll song.
Hmm.
Okay, and it was done by a gentleman by the name of Benton, and putting aside his fuckery, Ike Turner.
Huh?
Okay, so
but
yeah,
but 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 let me say this. Do you think those people care?
no,
I mean, you,
they
you got you got people, you got rap music coming from
right,
all these different countries,
right,
like South Korea and stuff like that.
right.
Hmm.
You think that people who listen to that, you think
Well,
the people who listen to that now are gonna try to go back and find out the origins of rap and hip hop?
well,
Maybe some people do. Some
some
do.
people do, some people do. But then you get some people that are stuck on stupid. Like I don't even I had to get off of his channel on YouTube. There's a gentleman by the name of Andy Edwards,
Hmm.
and he keeps trying to put forth this argument that black people did not create jazz. Okay, that people like W.C. Handy and Scott Joplin and all these people did not create jazz. He's trying to say that it was different cultures. And the thing that kind of pissed me off is that Wynton Marsalis kind of brought into it a little bit.
Really?
Yeah,
How so?
cause they asked him about the origins of jazz, and I guess he was trying to be nice. He said, well, jazz came up from like New Orleans and whatnot, W.C. Handy, and also you have some Celtic, Irish, a bit of it drawn in. Okay, fine if that's what you think, but still, the basics of it is
No.
black. And see where the thing that really, oh my God, I was getting ready to get. I don't like to travel, but I was getting ready to get a plane ticket to London just to whip his ass. Okay, because he at one point brought on. He had a show where he brought some gentleman on, and the gentleman said, "Well, all popular music, especially jazz, needs to thank the minstrel shows of the 19th century."
Here's the thing. This is the thing. Remember that scene in Malcolm X in the
Hmm.
church? And
Mhm.
Malcolm X and Christopher Plummer is a preacher or whatever, and they said Jesus is not white. Jesus was black.
Mhm.
And then they said, well, we don't know what color Jesus was. And then the preacher says, well, here's a picture of him right here, the portrait. And
Mhm.
Malcolm X said, well, why is he white? And the preacher said, well, it doesn't matter whether he's white or black. Then why is
Mhm.
the picture white? And so the thing we're coming to is where they're gonna take stuff from us, right? They're gonna they're gonna assimilate it or appropriate it or whatever. You're gonna say that's our stuff. They're gonna say no, it comes from some Celtic region of whatever, and you're gonna come back and say no, it's ours, and they're gonna say, well, what does it matter? It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
well, yeah, and see that was part of Andy Edwards' argument, because he was trying to say at the end of the day, why does it matter? Okay, if that's the case, what the hell did you bring some writer that wrote books on minstrel Jim Crow shows
Mhm.
on to try and foist this fraud that blackface minstrel performers are the originators of jazz? What the hell? Where the fuck did you get that from?
I think what they're trying to intimate, and I'm not sure because I didn't hear it, like an individual, for instance, like Scott Joplin, who did ragtime, who played ragtime. A lot of those types of tunes were used in those shows, and that ragtime, evolved into all sorts of other types of jazz. But again, Scott Joplin was a black guy, creating this
Yeah,
music.
yeah. That's the thing. They at the end of the day, no matter how you slice it, this is our music.
Yeah, and the minstrel
Okay.
shows were pretty. I mean, the thing that's so sad about minstrel shows that people got so used to people being in blackface that even the black people that performed the minstrel show had to put on blackface.
Yeah,
What
Bert
kind of
Williams.
crazy? Yeah, what kind of craziness is that?
Yeah,
I'm
Bert.
already black. Why do
Yeah,
I still got to put
yeah.
on blackface?
Bert
Yeah,
Williams had to put on blackface before
amazing.
he came on stage, and this is what I call the sickness of America.
Hmm.
Okay, and this is what the sickness is what we're dealing with now because it's just this craziness that's in America when it comes to race.
Yeah, and I
You
mean,
know.
and that's another issue that we talk about that Otto and I broached, but I mean, it's a whole different show. But the concept of quote unquote race being a term that was brought about in during the Enlightenment or used promoted during the Enlightenment to support their theories of hierarchy regarding, color or culture. And so they call this thing race, but there's
Yeah.
no scientific basis for it at all, except that it was created to justify stealing the resources
There you
of
go.
other individuals that you can say are quote unquote lesser.
There
The
you go.
whole what a white man's burden, noblesse oblige, you
Hmm.
know, um, concepts that they had. And, eventually we're going to have to start understanding that the use of that word is a buy-in
Hmm.
to the concepts of the oppressors. That
Hmm.
we use their language, and using their language, then basically we're tacitly agreeing to what it is that they've said. It's a thing that doesn't exist. It's not a real. It's not reality. It's a created term used in order to justify theft.
Yeah, it was just something
Hmm.
made up for people to get into the economic endeavor of
Hmm.
slavery.
Right.
Okay, that's all it was. 'Cause before that, you had people of color across, in Europe and mingling with Europeans, and it wasn't any problem
No.
until somebody woke up one day and said, "Oh, well, we can make a profit
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely. I think that's what we have to be aware of, that these things are not real, but they cause so much damage. Like a mist, floating through and choking you to death. And the story I thought was really interesting in Sinners was where they had all come. When the brothers first arrived in where were they? This is not Louisiana. It's
Clarksville,
Miss
Mississippi.
Mississippi. So they're in Mississippi, and the discussion is, why they came back. They talk about, boy, you went to Chicago. How wonderful. I said, no, it's just same thing, just taller buildings. So the attitudes are pervasive, all over the country. It wasn't that things were better necessarily in Chicago, as they were different, but still that the biases were pervasive. They were there too, because it wasn't Red Summer, 1920 and
yeah,
1921,
1919. Yeah,
1920. Yeah, that these horrors occurred because someone thought that it was beneficial
But what
to
time was
set up
it?
these
Because
hierarchies.
they worked with Al Capone, right? But it was
Yes, they did.
before World War II, right?
Right. Yeah, that's what they said. That it was before World War II, after World War One, but before World War II. Correct.
yeah, yeah. I
The
mean, when you
movie
look
was
at
set
it,
in 32.
Hmm.
yeah, you know.
Because the Red Summer is what 1919,
Hmm.
but Tulsa was the following year, right?
Uh, I think Tulsa
21.
was 21, but you had
Yeah, and then you
other
have, what's
rides.
it? What is the other place? What is it? Wilmington, North Carolina,
Yeah.
Rosewood, which may have been 1919. I'm not sure, but all of these things occurred though it didn't matter where it was, they were still doing the same thing, which is why Remick has what he says, even though people say that, he's the vampire and he's trying to seduce you with these thoughts. But it's the same thing like people saying, don't be communist. The communists are just trying to trick you. Yeah, but this is no worse than what is it you have offered me,
But
which is
Penelope, the thing
nothing.
is that Remick wouldn't have gone to that club they had if they weren't good, right?
No, of course not, because they had something that he wanted.
It was a club that was jumping.
That's right.
It
And
had good music.
but he
It
was
had good vibes.
attracted there because of the song. The song drew them there. He was drawn there with that, and he coveted it. He wanted that ability from this man. Who
Because if it was some hole in the wall that's just playing, you know, juke music, it
well,
wouldn't have gotten as much attention from this guy.
Well,
and maybe if it had been somewhere that it was just juke music or something, that maybe they just would have gone there and savaged the people and then left without bringing them along
But
into the
when he,
community.
yeah, because when he's singing, like James said, you see the whole
That's what
sphere
all music,
of
all
all
music
music. But the thing is that not only the music that was, the music that was
that
going to
will
be,
be. That's right. There's that will be. Yeah, I
including the
mean,
music for the Asian music
hmm
and all incorporating all that, and
yes.
that's where it hits you. It's like,
well,
man, this is
let me ask you this: do you think also that that scene was like sort of like a nod to Afrofuturism? Because from what I've been told and read, Afrofuturism not only looks into the future but also into the past.
Well, no, because Afro-retroism looks into the past. Afrofuturism looks into the future. We both write Afro-retroism.
Oh well, I mean I'm just going by what's her name, Womack.
She's wrong. Afro-retroism. If she said that, then it's incorrect.
Uh huh.
Afro-retroism is the past. Afrofuturism is the future. Now we go into what the surrealist, movements, which kind of move between. But yeah, if we're picking up stuff from the past, which this thing centers is Afro-retroism. because we're going to explaining the past.
But
Um,
the music they're showing is stuff, stuff we all remember, right?
exactly.
And it's showing, the Asian music as well, because
Mhm.
you had Asian people getting down as well. So it's showing
Mhm.
all of that stuff. It would be unrecognizable to someone who was, let's say, only listen, just their music history ended in 1968 or something,
Right.
you know. But for someone who people like us who've seen the entire musical participation and different cultures, even when I say the South Korean
Mhm.
use of hip hop and rap in their
Mhm.
music, no one would have thought that would be a thing,
No,
right?
probably not. But I think that we think when you look at certain cultures and civilizations and how I mean, and I always say this is one of my I have not written it, but in my mind, the concept of writing a big paper, a magnum opus, is about how rap, hip hop, has changed the world. The fact that it is the form of music where previously the province of singing, music, vocals was always the province of people who could sing. Before that, if you wanted to have a record and you just wanted to be, say you can just say stuff. You had to be able to sing and sing well in order for someone to give you a record contract.
Well,
But,
I would.
except I mean, no, and I'm not talking about things like the Last Poets and the Persuaders and things like that. But I'm saying the concept you got a beat that you dance to, and you're out there and you're not singing, you're speaking. And so that opened the entire world up now that I have my poetry that I get to speak it over music and people get to hear it because I can't sing, but I can speak this. And I think people are going to know, like, 100 years from now, that this was landmark in human civilization. Rap music and hip hop are changed the entire world.
Yeah, but I would say that with just about any genre that black people have created developed is, I mean, jazz is international, rock is international.
That's true, but I'm
Um,
not talking about the thing of rock, the music itself, but the concept that you do not have to sing,
no,
Well,
I
that
I,
the
I no
people who are speaking,
I
yeah,
understand that, but what I'm saying is it's just part of course.
I
Okay.
don't think it's part for the chorus. And the reason I don't think it's part for the chorus is because when hip hop and rap was coming out, there's no way in the world you thought somebody from Palestine would be doing it. And there's no way in the world you think.
Well, I
Hold on, hold on,
mean,
hold on, hold on, hold on, Felix. Let me get, let me say this. I don't think that we would thought, a lot of these communities that are oppressed, like
hmm
the so-called minority community that's in France and in Paris and the
well,
ghettos.
that's
Are they can't play John Coltrane, and they'll never play like Coltrane, but
yeah, but
they'll get a beat and they'll rap and they'll do beatbox
hmm
and
yeah,
they'll do all those things. And I think this is different. I think it's different.
yeah. Well, Oscar. Okay. Again, it's just to me, it's just part of course because a lot of people don't know is that by the early '80s,
hmm
okay, you start to get uh I'm talking about the early '80s. You start to get a rap underground in Toronto. You
hmm
start to get it in France.
Absolutely.
Okay, and don't get me wrong, because I've met rappers, members of the Zulu Nation from Hong Kong. I told you guys
And
this
I'm saying,
before.
and that is the point. And
Yeah,
that is the
And
point.
I think this is different. And I think they're talking about their oppression, and they're
yeah.
talking
hmm
about the stuff that's happening to them. And I think
but
that this form
see,
translates to that for them.
but see, here's the thing: jazz is it's the same thing. Jazz is international. It's just that with jazz, people had to master their instruments, but it still came from the black community. You
Absolutely,
had
I'm saying,
great,
yeah, it
great,
all did.
and
It all
see,
did, but I'm saying
yeah,
that the issue is that spoken word to have lyrics and to have those lyrics, for a song. I mean, there are people who are lyricists, well known, throughout, pop music, etc.
hmm
But, I mean, like somebody like Kurt Franklin with the song Stomp, he's a piano player. He
Yeah, I
created
mean,
that because he cannot sing, but he creates this piece of gospel, music that he can speak and say what's in his heart, in his mind, because before that you would have to sing, and if you couldn't sing, you don't get to have an album. And that's what I'm
yeah.
meaning, that people who do spoken word now have an option to be out there.
Well,
and
And I'm
I,
going to say,
well, it's just like
and I want to say, I don't, we're getting off track, but when you started beginning and talked about the scene that got you the most, being that scene where they're going through the club and everybody's,
hmm
with the music that throughout the ages. For me, it was when they are at the end and they are doing the Lord's Prayer. That to me was the most magnificent scene, because it embodied a lot of thought process that I have about how the world is, and as
in
Remick
what regard are
explains,
you talking about? Are you talking
was
about Catholicism? Or are you
all of
talking about
it.
religion, or just all religion in general?
Colonization. When Remick says that these are the same words that the people came, the men who took my father's land, these are the words they came with. That basically he knows that it's a fraud, but it still gives him comfort. And as I can't remember the young man's name, main character, the guitar player, is saying, he's saying the Lord's Prayer when he knows that his death is imminent. And then Remick joins him in the Lord's Prayer. And then the rest of the vampires join them in reciting the Lord's Prayer. And it reminds me of like one of my favorite films of all time, Night of the Hunter, when does it I can't remember the woman's
Shelley
name.
Winters.
The little woman who's
Oh,
the little Lillian Gish.
right,
Lillian Gish is playing the old lady who takes in the two children. And who is it that what's his name? Mitchum?
Robert Mitchum.
Roger Mitchum is this sadistic, murdering so-called preacher. And so they are both singing the same hymn in harmony. She in the house with the shotgun across her lap, and he's out there watching the house like the fox, trying to look for his opportunity to run in up on that chicken coop. But they're saying the same words. They're singing the same song. He is insincere. She is sincere. All they are is words to them. I mean, it just really comes home to me. Like, the vampires, they're saying this stuff, these words to them. They know these words. They can say these words just like he can say these words. You
Well,
know, the only meaning it has is the meaning that you ascribe to it. And for them, he's just like, I can say those same words. And it reminds me of like the politics and stuff of what we deal with. If people come to us and they say all the pretty words, the things that we can identify with, and we're like, oh yeah, he's saying those pretty words, or she's saying those pretty words. I'm going to follow them. I'm going to follow them. But those words have no meaning to them,
well,
yet you follow them into the abyss. And I think that's incredible. I
I
loved it.
think, I think, I think that's one of the reasons why the ethnicity of the vampires was Irish. Okay, because basically the Irish went through a lot of hell almost as much as black folk. Okay, um, they weren't considered at one point. They weren't considered human neither. Okay. Especially coming from what they call white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. I saw a video where about sinners where a guy's take on it was that they were kind of they were in the same boat as black folk, but they were considered in the hierarchy or in the pyramid of race, so like the middlemen. Okay, because I mean back in the during the antebellum days of slavery, there's the old joke about a black man and an Irish man on a riverboat, and they both fall overboard, and there's only like one. They're given a choice to just save one of them, and the captain says we'll save the nigger, okay, because the Irishman is worthless,
Hmm.
you know. So I think that's probably the reason why that the Irish were picked for that, to play that part. Um, and don't get me wrong, the Irish have appropriated black culture too.
Hmm.
I mean, the song in itself, you know, I found out that that song was originally sung by a Delta Mississippi blues woman.
Which one? Which song?
Who is it? We're gonna pick that Robin clean. We're gonna
Okay,
pick that.
pick Poor Robin Clean.
Yeah, I posted it on my writers page.
Hmm.
I think her name is Peachy or
Hmm.
Peachy. I forget her last name, but yeah, that's why I think. Oh, and a quick sidebar. You know how I have a funny sense of humor. I found it hilarious when Lillian Gish pitched some buckshot in
Yep.
Robin Mitchum, and he
Yeah.
started the way he was screaming.
Yeah.
I know you would love something like that. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
But also what horrified me was when the old guy was fishing and he looked down into the water and
Oh my gosh! And sees the mom down at the bottom of the.
yeah,
Mm-mm-mm.
oh my god.
Mm-mm-mm.
But yeah, getting back to sinners, yeah, I think that's why the Remick was Irish, him and
Mm-hmm.
his people. And again, it's like you damned if you do, you damned if you don't, because you got him on this side and you
Mm-hmm.
got the Klansmen trying to set, black people up on the other side.
Yeah.
But didn't you think that it was curious the introduction to the indigenous Native Americans, and then you don't see them anymore, and you
That
don't really see them. I don't recall whether or not they were in that scene with the music, the the arc of music, evolution of music in this country, whether or not the native indigenous people played a role or whether they had that in there. But it was curious to me that they showed them in the beginning, but not again.
that's what I was
Yeah,
going to ask about. It looks like I know why each group was chosen because the Choctaw used to have a great relationship with the Irish. They're the ones who sent over food and that monument and a whole bunch of money when during the Irish famine.
Mm-hmm.
But it was kind of like, wait, shouldn't they have at least showed up to help clean up the scene or something? And it's like, oh, at once they figured once he got into that home that they couldn't help anymore.
Well, also it's kind of to me a reflection of you want to call us, dirty savages, Indians, looking at us negatively. I'm trying to help you. You would rather have this guy. He's walking up to your house. The SOB's on fire. Basically, he's smoking. You're looking at this guy, and you think everything's just fine. Looking at this guy, and I'm trying to tell you, this guy is dangerous. But you would prefer to believe him because of the color of his skin, or where
But
you perceive
but
that
why
he's
not have
from,
him?
instead of believing what we're saying. And then it's like it's getting dark. We wash our hands of this,
But why
and
not
that's all it
have him
is.
come back in the scene and in the scene regarding the music?
They may have been there. I just didn't notice because I
I
was
didn't
kind of
know.
like
I
was
didn't
taking it
notice it
all
either.
in. You
Anybody
know, you're
else?
just kind of whoa, all
Yeah, I
this other
didn't see
stuff.
any either. It was almost as if like budget cuts went, sorry, you can't afford it.
I don't remember. If we roll it again, maybe we'll see. Well, I mean, I'll be more vigilant about watching it. But
Or maybe it was only the people that were in the juke joint. The
Yeah.
maybe,
SWCs were in the
and
juke
maybe
joint.
that makes sense too.
But that was the curious part. Why didn't they come knowing what they knew? Why didn't they come to help the twins? Or at least
The
warn the twins?
I guess they didn't know because remember the twins just got there. You know, they just got there and they were taking over their place and fixing it up. The Choctaws were chasing him down. You know, and when they got to that house and they said, "Look, it's getting dark. We've got to go." And so they weren't about to be running around in the dark dealing with this thing that these people had allowed
That's
into
right. It
their
was
home.
the same. Yeah, the guy taking over the family was the same time they were getting the juke joint ready.
Yeah. And so they're not about to, you know, they knew what they were up against. That once they come out after dark, they have an advantage.
Well, it's possible that it might be budget cuts, and maybe there was a scene that was deleted. You know what I'm saying?
Could be.
Maybe there was a
Because
scene when Smoke was dealing with the trunk. Yeah, because I was always wondering what was in the trunk when Smoke was dealing with the trunk and his other visitors. Maybe they came and saw too late, or
Yeah, well, you
yeah,
do the talk. That's where his armaments were, where his gun, the big gun
yeah,
was. Yeah.
and that's probably when the Choctaw showed up because it was the next day, so they would have
Hmm.
been at an advantage.
yeah. It might have been you know, because of the budget.
Maybe.
You know,
Or it could just be, look, I came to tell you, I now wash my hands. You know, you let this thing in your home, I wash my hands of it. I'm gone.
and I mean nothing for nothing. I mean, you know, when it came to the relationship between blacks and Native Americans, you had to go by like tribe to tribe,
Yeah.
okay? Because like in New Jersey, you had was it Arapaho? They were friendly to blacks. The Lemempee tribe was you know friendly to blacks, but you had other tribes that actually had black slaves. So the situation went from tribe to tribe. It wasn't a blanket situation. It's the same thing with Seminole. Seminoles were in our corner, but then you had tribes out west, like the tribe that Ben Waite was chief of during the Civil War, that actually fought with the Confederacy.
I mean, that's the five civilized tribes that, you know, they were basically like just not quite assimilated, but certainly were leaning into the ways of the Europeans. You know, you had a
Yeah,
lot of tribes that did lean in that direction and
Yeah,
who were just
adjacency. Yeah.
mm-hmm, thank you. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
So
Cranston, you've been awfully quiet. You
No,
know,
that's,
yeah, so what did you think? You know, what was your, what'd you think about it?
yeah. It was. I thought it was very. It was. It was. It kind of encapsulated, I guess, the experience that we had as a people, not just those characters. And then, like in when the Irishman shows up and everything, and he's presenting a scene. I just want to be a part of, and we can all be together, and this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a natural distrust, and yeah, why don't you go somewhere else and go find your people? Don't come here and try to be
Mm-hmm.
here with us. So.
Go down the road. I know there's a joint down there with people like you all. And
Mhm.
sing. I can't remember what song that was they're playing, and it's like, okay, well, that's nice. You take that down the road. It's a, this is a juke joint. We don't play
yeah,
that
that
kind of
was
music
that was
here.
pick that Robin Clean.
For Robin Clean. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and and the thing is kind of interesting that that's a song that they would sing because it's about basically ripping somebody off. Taking something that
Mhm.
pick poor Robin clean.
But
Just
that's when I started. When I heard that, and they talk about they wanna be a part of what's going on in the juke joint. That's when I started thinking about Mo Levy.
yeah, I want to be a part of it, right?
Hmm.
I.e., I want to take it over. I want to have it. I want to own it. I want to possess it. I don't, but the problem is again between the rock and the hard place, because the brothers show up, they got a bag full of money. They say we're buying this thing. Here you go. Just don't come back here. Stay off our property. That's not a no too much to ask, right? I bought it. You and your clan brothers, yeah, stay off of it. Not too much to ask. But that's what, Remick kind of leaned into. That he had been in touch with those clansmen. They were, had their robes out and ready. They were getting ready to do their thing. So he knew what was in their minds. And basically said, these people, they sold you the property, but you think they were going to let you keep it? You know, you come here and try to build something. You cannot build anything because whatever it is, they're going to take it. So you are between the rock and the hard place.
In that
You want to
line,
believe. Hmm.
in that line he had at the end when they were coming over, picture yeah, grand opening, now grand closing.
Yeah, there you go. Grand closing. Grand closing. All in one day because everything that you could possibly get, we can take from you. And I know I'm going to go off just a little bit, TC off topic, but that is kind of the basis of the William Hayashi's books, the Dark was it the Dark Universe
Dark
trilogy, his
Side
Dark
Trilogy.
Side trilogy. That Conception, which is the second book, Discovery is the first book. Conception is the prequel, but talks about the fact that once Christopher develops this gravity machine that allows him to control gravity, he realizes my life is in danger because either they will take it from me or they'll make me sell it, but if I don't give it to them, they're going to kill me for it. So I am in danger, you know, having something like this. And the only way that we can protect ourselves is to find a place to go where they can't touch us. So the whole concept of the black people being on the backside of the moon comes from that they thought everywhere else, all the different places, countries, areas that they could put this civilization and realize that they would not be safe as long as they were on this planet. And so that kind of that fear that you have constantly, that if you have something of value, that it will be taken from you, is like this underlying theme in a lot of our writing, a lot of music, that focuses on these issues. Nikki Giovanni, don't do what you do very well, and enjoy it. You know that this is a thing. What to say? I can't remember if it's black person, but it makes black people won't like it, but it makes the black ones truly mad. And that idea that doing something very well puts a target on your back, and what's left for you but to embrace mediocrity, in order to stay alive or stay out of the line of fire. So this thing, this concept that these guys getting together and having made a decision, strategic decision to move back home to the South to bring something that they thought was of value, and then to find out that still, you know, this place, even if the vampires had not come, right, you were always going to be in the
They weren't going to make
crosshairs
any.
of the
They weren't going
clan.
to make any money. They weren't going to make
Right.
any money taking wooden factory store
Yeah.
credit money.
But
Right.
isn't that why he told his cousin, "This is your last juke joint. Go to that town where it's all black. At least you'll stand a better chance there. You'll be
Yeah.
better protected."
Yeah.
I don't think he told him that because of the money. I think he told him that because it's. I think for a different reason that getting in. I mean, that juke joint thing by definition was a little bit entertainment, a little bit criminal. right? It's just like a speakeasy kind of thing.
Hmm. And
There was selling liquor there they weren't supposed
right.
to sell.
And that
So
the liquor that they had gotten, my understanding was that they had kind of filched it from the Irish and the Italians that they're up there working with. So once they decided to head on this course, they really had to get out of town. Because, once it was discovered,
keep the line open, the supply line open.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
once it was discovered what they had done to get it, they're probably not going to be in the best position. So,
And the thing is, I think also, not in the movie, of course, but
mhm.
those white people down there, they weren't going to let them have that juke joint with imported, Chicago whiskey,
Oh,
beating up their moonshine business or anything like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, but they also weren't going to let you have it just because you had it. I mean,
Mhm.
regardless of whether it was doing well or doing poorly, the concept that these guys came down there with a bag of money to buy a thing that they had for sale and that they could do that I'm sure they were incensed by it. And they planned just to come to, burn them out, kill them, whatever it was, get shed of them. I only wonder why they didn't bother to show up the night before so they could have been the ones out there
Yeah,
dealing
I
with the
know.
vampires.
Yeah,
No,
that
they
would
didn't even
that would
bother to
been neat.
come.
Yeah,
Yeah. They should have showed up the night
but
before. That
but
would have been nice.
but in the dance scene, in the scene where basically it's like the black people are dancing and they almost get religion, and like it's like you get to that point where you cut loose and you don't care who's watching anymore,
Hmm.
and so you see the different aspects of dance and music. You see someone who looks like Misty Copeland dancing
Hmm.
Right,
in there as
right.
well, and it's just like at a certain point you don't you get that feeling that I don't know whether other people feel it, whether people other than black people feel it, but it's that feeling where you almost at a different level. You don't really care who's looking, watching,
Yeah.
and that's
Also,
that point. Yeah, go ahead.
when you all talk about that, if you think about it, at the beginning of this, when they start the dance and he's singing either the everybody and all the different types of song, music, people all using the same beat, but diverse, all over,
Mhm.
right? But at the
Yeah,
end, you have them do Rocky Road to Dublin, where everyone, all the black people, the Irish guy, everybody
yeah.
is
That
one.
and that sounds that sounded so corny to me. But
Not,
the Irish the Irish
not,
stuff.
but I'm
Yeah,
saying no. I liked it at the end where they're all dancing and sing the Rocky Road to Dublin. I thought that was very cool. But again, it's like the very beginning where everything is diverse and we accept all this going into the future, the diversity of the world. Then at the end, the assimilation is it's again like the Borg, in Star Trek. It's like we assimilate you to make you part of our perfection.
yeah. But
And
I'm
now
looking at the
you
black
are
stuff.
dancing. Yeah, but the black people there also dancing those same
Yeah, they're
steps
dancing, but they're not doing the
and
same
singing the
dance.
same song at the end when
Right,
they
but
are doing
I'm
the
thinking
Rocky
like
Road to Dublin. So I'm just saying that at the beginning we're showing all the beauty of
right.
change and difference and variety, but at the end, it's like no, now you are doing what I want you to do
I want
and
Well,
you to
what
do.
to
I
me,
am
Yeah.
to
making you
me,
do.
to me, I think that part is basically saying that reminding people, and that's why I think this film is relative to what's going on now.
Hmm.
That at the end of the day, we're all in the same fucking boat. Okay, we can. If, you get people that voted for a certain person can think that they're different,
Hmm.
that they're different, and that he's the Messiah and the Savior. But at the end of the day, he doesn't give a shit about you neither.
Hmm.
Well,
Okay.
that's the other thing is that he kept saying that we can all be one big family and we'll all be together, but
Yeah.
I'm the one in charge.
Right.
Right. Exactly.
And we'll all sound, we'll all blend together so that it eventually all sounds exactly the same,
Right.
Exactly.
even with all your
Exactly.
diversity.
Sonia's right.
Exactly. And
Sonia's
that's what
right.
I and
Because
that's
the
what
thing
that's what I
is,
was trying to
the,
say, and I guess not
yeah,
well.
right.
That
Because when you're playing the music and the beat and the people are letting loose and the roof starts to catch on fire, right?
Mhm.
I don't necessarily want to join that with that Celtic music, man. I'm not. It may be very well good music, but I'm not trying to listen to that.
No,
I'm not.
I
I'm not
think
I don't think
downplaying
it
it.
mattered that it was Celtic music at the time. It's just that it would all sound the same no matter what.
I don't give a damn. It's
yeah,
Celtic
Because you have
music.
that
I'm not
one
listening
person
to.
who's choosing it.
and
I'm not
I
listening to that. Yeah, I don't want to listen. Yeah.
but see, I also think that montage that we were talking about, I also think that with that montage, that's telling people this is our thing.
Hmm.
Like Delroy Lindo said, this is what we brought from home.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, so
Exactly.
no matter what about the Rocky Road to Dublin or all that stuff there, this is our thing. It's
Hmm.
almost like you go, like you say, you go to a house party and they're playing maybe back in the day One Nation Under a Groove. It's just something that you connect to that I don't think that other people could.
Somebody knock at your door.
Not mine.
Uh, no,
That
that's
sounded like a pipe. I was waiting for Tony Orlando and Dawn to walk in.
yeah, I know. I don't know what the hell that is, but they're shit out of luck because I continue. No, it's like
It's true. It's true. It's
it's
true.
something that people just can't connect to or understand. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Yeah. I
It's
mean, they start. You went to a house party or something. They start playing One Nation Under a Groove. There's a certain kind of a combination of a kind of coherence. Y'all know what you're talking, Penelope. Y'all know you get that when you go to that
What it
party like
is
that.
is that it's almost you get religion.
Yeah,
You
it's like
are,
yeah,
and
it's
everybody
different,
yeah.
is, you're
and
dancing,
everybody
and
knows
then
it, and
everybody's just,
everybody.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like for years this artist Dudley Vachina, he would give like a after New Year's party out in Brooklyn. Okay, and once you get in there, because he would get a DJ, he would be showing old vintage black films in one room. He had a bar in the other room, and it's just that feeling you get.
Yeah.
It's just that feeling that you get that people, other people just can't. They can't understand it.
It's that
Hmm.
connectivity,
Yeah,
and you
connectivity.
can't really explain it, but it's that I was the happiest 16-year-old that ever in the world, and if there was somebody who was happier than me, then God bless him. But I was the happiest ever they could be.
Hmm.
It's just that feeling, right? And I think Coogler captured it to me. I mean, you could have criticisms of the film. I think there've been
Hmm.
criticisms about the vampire part. It didn't seem like it's when they killed the vampires, like they just died. Except for the last dude. But he didn't. The vampire people didn't really do vampire stuff.
Well,
The,
Hmm.
the film is doing good. Is the film is doing good when you get less and less of a fanboy rant on social media
Hmm.
that just faded away. Because I think even before this film came out, people were taking pot shots at it. Okay, just because of the person that directed the film.
Hmm.
Okay, but once people went to see it and got in the flow of it, all of that faded away.
Hmm.
And half of it was people that don't even watch horror pictures.
Hmm.
Okay, don't even connect with not even any other genre. They
well,
just
let, let
want
me
to.
let me let me let me stop you there for a minute. Let me stop you there. Do you think that the fact that it had a horror aspect to it turned away a lot of black viewers?
I think a lot of black people have take issue with horror films,
Yeah,
and because so many people are, they think that horror film has something to do with religion, and
yeah, yeah.
A
that's the
lot
thing.
of and a lot of people were turned around by the name. One woman I was reading wasn't even going to see it because of the title. Why are you going to hang around sinners and all that? I'm like, but that's not that. You're proving the point of the story.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Just because it
Listen,
was called Sinners, she didn't want to go see it,
Yeah,
and
and the
see,
and was convincing other black people not to see it because of the name of the film.
yeah,
oh my
the
god,
juxtaposition of the the
Mhm.
preacher, the guy's father, he was a preacher, and you know what I mean, and
Mhm.
a lot of black. Do you think that turned away a lot of black people as well as the name and all
well,
that?
you know what, if that's the case, some people definitely really don't get it because that scene when they're in the church,
Mhm.
you and you see like the beams of the wooden beams of the church cross.
Mhm.
That's a homage to Chadwick Boseman, Black Panther.
I did not know that.
Yeah, this is what Kugler said, that it's a little Easter egg that is a homage to Boseman that played Black Panther.
Huh.
Hmm
You have to tell me exactly what it is, where to look for it, and and I'll
I
go back and look.
think when at one point where his father, I think it's behind the pulpit,
Mhm.
and you look up and see, just like a lot of people don't know that I found out that they used the new technology to film Jordan as his twin.
Hmm.
It was actually a harness that he puts on his shoulder, and it's these little circular like things that go around in a circle where it picks up his like facial movements or something like that, and it made the effect of him having a twin look more believable.
Huh. Well, that's interesting too. I'll check that out as
I
well.
didn't know that either.
Yeah. So, I mean, we were talking Cranston. I kind of got a little bit off track, but you know, um, I guess with regard, I think that when I first saw the film, and when they were going through, let's say, the cotton field, and picked up Cornbread, who was there with
Mhm.
his wife, and I kind of wondered a little bit about this thing too, that the concept of family and division, and she's there working. I mean, everywhere you looked, I do not think that there was you know these characters where the women were not working.
Mhm.
Almost every woman is working in this this film, because and it's interesting to me because I always thought about when I was growing up and I was in my teens, early teens, the sexual revolution, women's lib movement, where the right to work, women talking about working, and I always thought, what, every woman I ever knew, every black one I knew, always worked.
Mhm.
There wasn't like oh, let me work. I mean, there was no question that you had to work, and it's not just work. It's like, well, no, I want to work in a job that where I'm paid the same amount as my white male counterparts. And I think the situation with black women was that we were not as quote unquote picky about that. It's like you need to work because you need to bring in money. Things are
Mhm.
unfair, but so you're what? Not gonna, or your husband tells you you're not allowed to work because you working means that he is doing lesser. I mean, who can sell you that bill of goods? That you tell your spouse that they shouldn't work so that you can be more poor. you
Mhm.
know I don't get it. When
When
you have, because, well, the boss man that I work for, his wife doesn't work. Yeah, because he's the boss man and his wife
yeah.
doesn't have to work. But you're going to try to stretch your little paycheck over three children and a spouse, and tell your spouse, your wife, that she can't work because it makes you look bad. It's like, are you nuts? I mean, really, really, are you nuts? And that's the kind of mind games that are going on out there with people. This is not in your best interest to convince your spouse that they should stay home and not work. That is never a good thing. And when you get into the job market, that you're not the person that's standing beside your spouse saying, you need to be paying my spouse equal with me,
Mm-hmm.
you know, only because you don't want somebody else's spouse to be paid equal with you at your job. How insane is that? I never understood it. Never understood it. I only understood, that it's um you're supposed to try to contribute the best you can to your family coffers, be that going out to work or bringing in laundry or doing crafts or whatever. That I always was amazed by that, that somebody's not going to let me work. Well, go work then, kind of wild to me.
Nah, that didn't work in my house. My mother worked, my father worked, and even with that, they would go to back in the day they called it beneficial finance
Hmm.
and get a loan. Okay. In fact, at one point, my mother and father worked at the same job, a toy factory.
Yeah. And everybody works. Everybody does something, to bring in something to make things better. And I think that the complaint that people had is like it's almost like this the historical reference of Jews in Europe, that the Christians would get angry because their religion said that they could not charge interest, but the Jewish religion didn't have that prohibition. So they would be angry that the Jewish people would loan them the money, and they took the money, but that they wanted them to pay interest because they could ask for it. Say,
Mm-hmm.
don't get angry with me because you borrow from me, and that my culture allows you to do a thing your culture does not. So instead of just saying, man, I wish our culture would open up and let us charge interest, you vilify the person whose culture allows them, but you don't stop not borrowing money from them. It's only
Mm-hmm.
until it gets hard for you to pay it back. Now all of a sudden they're villains, So you shouldn't have borrowed their money if you didn't want to pay their interest because you knew you had to do it, but now they're a villain because your religion says you can't do it. Then don't borrow the money. It's that simple, and because your Christian brethren will not loan you the money because they're like, "We don't loan you my money, and all you gotta do is give me back the money that I loaned to you. You don't even pay for the use of the money. No, no way." So
And
I thought it.
James,
Hmm.
can you tell us more about this toy factory?
No, it was a toy
And,
factory in the Bronx.
and did you get to get free toys?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh wow.
Another reason to hate you.
Oscar,
Why
Oscar,
you get new toys? You got
she
free
won this
toys.
shit up. No, I can remember my parents bringing home like these little toy submarines. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, these little toy submarines, and gosh, I think like plastic flutes and maybe some soldiers or something like that. But yeah, back then they were working stiffs. Like I
Hmm.
said, I could never understand why they would blast WINS 1010 news
Hmm.
overnight while they supposed to be sleeping. That was so their asses can get up.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
You
but
know.
you know what I use as a submarine in my house?
Oh Lord,
Uh-oh.
what? What? Pray tell. What?
An old Coke, an old Coke bottle and a
Oh, would
clothespin.
you stop? Would you just stop already?
Okay, the Herman that flew over my head. What? Lily, what did he say?
An old Coke bottle,
Old
really?
Coke bottle, and as a soldier, I would use a clothespin.
Yeah, okay, there we go. Old Coke bottle and clothespin. There you go.
Anchors away, boys.
Okay. All
Okay,
right.
there we go. All right.
All
And I know
right.
what Sonya, you've been, saying stuff, jumping in here and there, putting in your thoughts, but generally, what were your thoughts?
I was glad I saw it at daytime because if I had seen it at night, considering how dark the room I was watching it in, I probably would have jumped out of my skin.
Ah,
It scared you that much?
Huh? It's very visual. Kugler's a very visual storyteller. Um, I would have liked to see more of the Choctaw worked in, but then now remembering the times,
mhm,
now that it was the day
mhm.
they wouldn't have had time to step in. They would have
Yeah,
shown up just as everything was done
right. And that's what I was
to warn
thinking.
them.
Because we had that same conversation. Why it was we never saw the Choctaw again in the film, and we
Yeah,
thought
I
that we would
forgot
see them
about the
again.
time difference. Yeah.
Yeah. Then thought,
So
well, maybe at the end, maybe
they
we'll see
were
them again.
opening up just as they were chasing the guy.
Yeah. So yeah, they wouldn't
They
even
didn't have,
known.
but if it, part of me, and they said that we were on the other side of town. So yeah, they wouldn't have
Yeah.
gotten across in time
Well,
Yeah,
to
again,
inform them.
and I mean for
think
me, like I said, I'm not going back there at night. See, I
Right.
know what's getting ready to happen. I'm not going there at night, even if I know. I'm not leaving the safety and security of my
Right.
home to go out there to
And when
do
they said, yeah,
anything.
it didn't dawn on, wait, they said it was the lumber that would have been on the side furthest away from the Choctaw. Yeah, they wouldn't have crossed over to tell them.
Yeah,
Yeah, after I
yeah,
remember the timeline. But I would
yeah.
love to see a prequel of the Choctaw dealing with the evil beforehand.
Agreed, agreed.
yeah,
I would like to
yeah.
have known. They were chasing him down, and I want to
Hmm.
know
And they
what
almost had him.
happened. Yeah, what happened?
Well,
You
again,
think
I think it might. Who knows? We might get the answers with a director's cut. You
do
know.
you
Maybe.
think that
Or or in 25 years when Kugler gets his rights back. And I think that's the other backlash to the film. I think the studios got scared when they heard Kugler's terms and afraid that more people are going to start to demand this now that they know they can get that.
well, people have
Or
gotten that already? I mean, there's several directors have gotten that several
Because
times. I mean,
Tarantino usually
Tarantino's
does that.
gotten it, the other directors gotten it. So
yeah, but they didn't talk about it. Kugler's the first, like when Shonda Rhimes said, her deal, she talked about her deal, or she wouldn't talk about her deal until another, what was it? Was it Murphy that got, they were, oh, Murphy got this. And she goes, yeah, but mine was still more. And that's what shocked people with Shonda.
Yeah,
And I think similar shock is happening now that, oh
right,
my God,
but
people
isn't
are
that but
talking about it.
isn't that an industry issue? I mean, it's not a
yeah, I
for
agree.
us for us as
But
end users.
industry
It's
could
not a
set a lot of
creative.
buzz going.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
but
but I
get
think
your
that.
skills to put out all the bad word about it, to post the Rotten Tomatoes things about it,
Hmm. Well, I think
that
the
spreads
issue. Yeah,
around.
yeah, I think that the issue is that again, I said it before. I will continue to say it ad infinitum, ad nauseum. That when Marvel did the original Black Panther with Ryan Coogler, they were in a position of we can't lose because on the one hand, if it made a lot of money, they say, "Yay, we made a lot of money." On the other hand, if it was a complete and total bust, they could say, "We gave them $250 million. If you can't do a decent movie with $250 million that brings in, puts the butts in the seats, then oh well, that means that no black superhero film is ever going to do that. So you will never get any money." So they were in the catbird seat. Either way, they were going to win. Either
Yeah.
they were going to have
And
a
I think
blockbuster
now,
film, or they were not. They're going to have an excuse to not ever do this again. And
and I,
because they didn't get that excuse, they didn't get to not ever do it again. Now they're trying to walk back, you know, the accolades that this man should get, and he deserves to be
and
able
I
to
think
do this.
I don't think it was Marvel. I think it was Disney because I'm reading more and more
They're
about the
all done.
relationship Kugler has with Feige, and I feel more positive about that than I feel with Kugler's relationship with
Which to
Disney.
me, when I say Marvel, I mean the machine. That
Yeah,
yeah, I
the
mean,
whole
it's the
Marvel
same.
it's the
machine.
Disney
It's the same.
machine.
It's the
It's the
same
same.
thing, right? It's
It's the
No,
same.
I think Marvel is trying to be more, what's the word? It's not inclusive. That's not the word I want. Open to trying stuff. But I think that's
oh,
because remember when they had that mandate, just produce stuff, and they kept saying, no, we want our quality. just produced stuff, and they finally gave in and produced all that stuff we got.
And
You
are
could
still getting.
tell,
And are
right? You
still
could
getting.
tell that Feige's like, okay, I'll give you your stuff, and you're going to see that it's going to stink, type thing.
Yeah, that's.
And then when you hear that Marvel had produced all these wonderful sets and clothes for Blade, anticipating to go forward, and when it didn't, they just said, just sell it to Coogler for cost. When
Yeah.
the original rumors were Marvel's mad because Coogler took the Blade idea somewhere else and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
No, they were actually working together to get Sinners produced.
I don't trust any of them.
I don't trust Disney.
Yeah.
I trust Marvel more than I trust Disney.
Which I mean, if you do, that's great. I don't trust either more or less. I think I think it is like Penelope said, a machine that
Mm-hmm.
can't be trusted. And so, the fact that Coogler got his deal the way he did is great. The fact that if you hate every other part of the movie, or you kind of
Mm-hmm.
meh on every part of the movie, it's like a Spike Lee movie to me. I mean, you have a Spike Lee movie that you kind of met on, and then Spike hits you with that one or two
Yeah.
scenes
That you think,
that he just
wow.
knocks. Yeah,
Yeah, he hit it. He
it
hit it.
becomes iconic
Mm-hmm.
almost. It's kind of like that almost to me, because the rest of the film is really good. I like the fact that, like what James said, the technology stuff was integrated into it. The problem is that maybe when you get a black director, that aspect of the film is not really engaged or told
Or focused on.
or focused on. This other stuff is focused on. I think he handled the sex in the kind of the correct way. It wasn't. It was to me. It looked like it was done in scenes that were editable. Like you can
Mm-hmm.
edit it later and put it on TV. So it wasn't like it wasn't overly and unduly sexual. It's like encounters that if you want to
And
put on
yeah,
ABC, you want to put on
Yeah.
ABC. All you need is a pair of scissors, basically, and then
mm-hmm. Cut him
It was
out.
you
more
can put it in.
sensual than sexual.
Huh?
It was more sensual than sexual.
Yeah, I mean,
And I can
Kugler's
only
not
think
a.
of 3 scenes, well, 2.5 scenes that were
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
sexual.
and that
The
that's the kind of stuff that you can really like take out and you can put on television, and
hmm
And it's still not ruined the
Yeah,
story.
Right,
it wouldn't
right.
ruin it, wouldn't take it away. It wouldn't. It's just there. Just a man and a woman interacting, and
Yeah.
that was that.
Yeah, and then you get
Several of
cut, the editor
yeah,
gets jumped in.
yeah, and so yeah, I thought he did a great job. I think it shows to me that like I said before earlier in the show, people take from our communities and leave the husk behind, and that's what this movie represents to me. So it's like, like Penelope and I were talking about, a lot of older black people. If you're a talented black person in the family, some of the older, especially older black women, would say that you scare them, and the
Hmm
reason they say that is because you bring down a lot of white people focus on you, and they're gonna do some stuff to you.
Yeah,
Either
you're
gonna take
targeted
you and
for that. Yeah.
exploit you, or they're gonna it's not gonna come out well. The end of the
Right.
story is not gonna come out as well as you hope. You know.
And I tell you, don't be so smart. Don't say so much. Don't draw attention to yourself because drawing attention to yourself can cause a lot of harm to you. You know, head down all the time. You don't want to stand out.
Well,
You know.
or that line about, if you keep playing with the devil, sooner or later he's going to follow you home. So,
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly it. And the thing is with us, like you don't even play with the devil, as a father. That's just, as they would say. I mean, he's just doing what he does, but he's an attractive nuisance, right? He happens to be the type of thing that something like that would be attracted to. And I think that's and it's kind of like infused, in this tale about this father, the minister, saying, "Don't do it. It's
Yeah,
you'll
because
be playing.
black
Give it up." You know.
black people call it devil music. White people call it nigger music. You know, if you look at Aretha Franklin, her father was a preacher, and how much pressure Aretha and her
Hmm.
father, pastor Franklin, received about his daughter singing that devil music.
Hmm.
Instead of coming back to the church.
Yeah.
That was a huge thing because her father was a huge pastor back in the day. It was like
Hmm.
from coast to coast, and he couldn't control his own daughter from singing that devil music.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, even with that, when she first signed with Columbia Records, she was basically singing a lot of Tin Pan Alley type of songs. She didn't get into the soulful part of her career until she got to Atlantic.
Hmm. And I guess that the people in the church said, "What in the world's going
What are
on?"
you doing? What was Pastor Franklin's daughter doing?
Yeah, what's going on?
Well, that's the
So,
other thing is that a lot of people that did end up going into soul and R&B all started out doing church music versus that was their first exposure to the public where they learned performance and that kind of thing. So
and when he comes back at the end of the film to his church, and he is completely, beat up. There's those that stomped, beat up, and whooped. Even then, even after all this, he cannot give up the music. You
Do,
know.
do you think gospel pure black gospel music? We all know what we're talking about when we say that. Is that the one aspect that white people really can't figure out how to appropriate?
I don't know. I think anybody you work long and hard enough, you think you can make some money off of it, they could appropriate it. I don't. I have no doubts. But the issue is,
Has it
you
been
may.
though?
But just to say this, you may try to do it, but before you do it, that means you'd have to cultivate that demographic within that community that would have the same feeling about it that we would have, right? And so I think that would be the problem, not to do it in and of itself, but to not have a foundational background where we heard it growing up,
They
or
couldn't do.
sort of,
I mean, you
I,
remember the song "Oh Happy Day"? Oh Happy Day.
yes, yes, I do.
White people look silly trying to sing that song, right?
I don't, I can't say that. I'm
I
not
think
going to
I
say
think they
that.
would. I think they
Nah,
would.
I'm not going to say that.
I would say
I
they would.
I can't. I think they they would. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't
I,
picture a
I, I
white
think they I
person.
think they were silly singing that song.
I mean, I'm not going to say that.
Especially like
But
Pat Pat Boone singing "Oh Happy Day."
okay, that's different. Because I
I
remember
think
him
I
doing
think
Tutti
no, you
Frutti, and it
joke,
was
you joke,
horrific,
you joke, but I think it's the
horrific.
same. I think if they try to say "Oh Happy," I absolutely cannot sing that song. I mean,
I
they
don't
could
know. I
try,
don't
but
know.
I don't think that they could.
I don't
They,
think so. It sound like what is it, Burt Parks, and that's the way the world. No,
Hmm.
I don't think that's.
yeah, I don't think they can do it. I don't think they can pull it off. You
But I
know,
think, but I would say the reason why I back off on that a little bit is because I think some of these things are cultural. And when I say cultural, I mean if you have a person that has grown up in the church in a black community, it is a cultural thing. You will listen to it, you will sing it, you do it because that's where you grew up. That's how you talk. That's how you interact. I mean, from where I come from, I'm from South Florida. There were people that were like that. Anglo kids who grew up in the community, and you wouldn't know if you're talking on the phone with them. You think it's another black person because they grew up in the community. So I don't know. I'm not. I can't say that. I think it's a cultural thing. You grew up in the culture, yeah, and you can have a dog as well. I guess.
Sorry,
I said that. Yeah, but I think again,
there's three of them. I'm
you would
sorry.
have to. Yeah, but I think you would have to grow up in the culture to understand it because it would have to be baked in I don't think it's a thing that you can, just jump up and say, I got it, I learned it. I mean, you have to really feel it,
Yeah,
understand it.
that's the only way I could. No, you're right. That's the only way I could see a white person doing "Oh Happy Day." You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, and even with that, even within the gospel community, they have their differences too, because what we I can't even say now, but for a time period, what we consider gospel was done originated with Reverend Dorsey, and when he came out with his version of gospel at the time, a lot of people didn't like it.
Mm.
They thought he
Uh,
was the devil in disguise.
yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of the stuff that happens, the evolution of the stuff that we listen to, think to, and culturally stuff. But I mean, I'm looking now at our clock, and we've been in for an hour and 46 minutes, so we only got like another less than 15 minutes. So, anybody have anything in particular that they want to, that they think needs to be presented regarding the film that we have not touched on? I know there are many things. I mean, a lot of things like visual cues that occurred in the film that we didn't talk. For instance, at the very beginning, the opening scene, that you see the sun, right? And then there's a second sun. You notice that? That the sun is duplicated. You notice that? So yeah, the two suns, exact the same.
Fact
One
that
just like the other. Yeah, at the very beginning.
the fact that one of the suns had a blue tinge, and
Hmm.
the other one had the red tinge, kind of like the brothers' colors.
Yeah, exactly. So those things, some of the visual cues that go out, you know, into the film too. That, I mean, we have a whole show just based on all the different visual cues. For instance, like James saying the Easter egg, the visual, regarding the Chadwick Boseman in the church, that I didn't catch it, so now I got to go watch it again and see it. You know, um, I think that's you know one of the major things that's I'd like to talk to, like a Kugler person, to go through and talk about all the visual cues that we have within the story. You know, I think, and I cannot remember things like what color Mary was wearing the first scene that we see her. You know,
Blue.
Blue.
and because, well, and I was thinking it was
No,
blue,
no, she was wearing red.
white. Was it white, red,
White.
or blue? At the
She
train
was wearing
station.
white at the train.
Train station, right? Is the first time we see her.
White. She was wearing white.
Okay. And then she's wearing,
Cream at the club.
and the final thing she's wearing, I think,
Wearing
some.
black and white.
Yeah. So, what things like that. The color scheme with different people. I love the character Cornbread. I thought that I was so sad. I was so sad about what happened to me. You knew it was going to happen, but I was just so sad. What? What year wasn't it so sad?
No, it's sad. It's just the way you say you knew what's gonna happen.
Yeah, but it was, oh no. And then the other poor guy, they took him and threw him outside. Oh no, no, he's been bitten by the vampires. Like, oh, wait a minute, this is wine. Morons threw that guy out there to his death. Oh my goodness, I thought, come on, yo, come on. But again, when people are scared and desperate, they do desperate things. And I was reading somewhere where that is one of the um, underlying meanings of the song "Pick Poor Robin Clean," how desperate people will even hurt each other. Other desperate people. So this is, our people. And then when the Asian woman, because she is upset and wants to get home to protect her daughter, because she realizes that these things are, basically the threat is out there, but we just go get your daughter. She is furious, and she says the things that let them in, and now they got to fight, because otherwise they're gonna go get her girl. Uh, I'm like, when they should just pushed her outside.
Yeah.
As she was that intent, they need to push her outside.
But
That
she was
that needed to
right.
happen.
She was right in a way. There was so much more than them. Somebody was going to. Mary already had permission to go in and out. Mary didn't need a second permission to come in, even though what's his name has died.
Yeah,
She,
but if she
and
once
she
you're
could have gone in and told
you
everybody
can't
else
no
come on in.
no once you're out, you have to be invited in. Just so she was out, she could not come back in. Otherwise, she would have. She was out, and she said, "Just be quiet, lady, and let us survive the night." But nope, nope, nope. Because of course, she's worried about her girl. She's worried about her daughter. I mean, who wouldn't be? You know. Also, like when they turn her husband, I really love that because I mean he's just like, yo, come on out, come on, let's go, come on out.
And
Oh, man,
it's
that was
also
great,
kind of a metaphor saying that, that these people want to be a part of, because the first time the vampires show up, they're not going to let them in no matter what. So they have to
right?
turn away. But it says that that's what happens is that you get, it's when you let the people in that are trying to exploit you, that's when they're
Exactly.
going to exploit you.
And that is wonderful. That is a wonderful um uh observation that they did not come back until Mary
Hmm.
goes out chasing that coin, right? They needed the money because they found out they're not going to be able to make the money. They got some money, and she's going to let them in because of money,
Hmm.
and that's it. And that's the thing we don't think about. What else is at stake? We really need this money. We're not thinking past that, And I thought, yeah, that's excellent, Granson. It's a great observation. Right. Well, like I say, we're coming down to it in the last 6 minutes or so. Anybody else have any observation they want to share with everyone?
He gave me my new favorite line right next to "We're going to need a bigger boat." Is when Delroy Lindo looks out and says, "We have a problem."
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. And this is a
yeah.
true thing. We have a problem. But
Oh,
I thought that it was, in parts, of course, the comic relief, the sadness. Of course, when we have, Stack and Smoke, and you have one who ends up as a vampire, the other who rejects it because his wife she rejects it, and he instead goes on into death, with her and his child instead of eternal life. So I thought that was also an interesting idea that one chooses this to be with wife and child in death, and the other chooses life, or whatever you want to call this. This is a life. So there we go.
but
Right.
that's sometimes in certain stories in my collection. That's the dilemma
Mm-hmm.
with certain characters. With my main character, he's actually saved people from dying by biting them, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but now they suffer the same, you know, fate into perpetuity that he has to deal with,
Right.
But I think we need to give a shout out to what is that Buddy Guy?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we need to give a shout. Well, him and Delroy Lindo,
Yes.
you know. Yeah, need to give a shout out to them because they were they put spice into the film, with just them being there.
Yeah. Mhm. All right. Yeah. Well, now today is the 13th of July. We're getting ready to close things out. Are there any announcements? Anybody have anything to report, to uh, to celebrate, honor, anything like that coming up?
Now I will let you guys know that it's a possibility that I might not be on the show next Sunday. I'll let y'all know when we're finished.
What are you doing such that you won't be here?
No, I'll talk to you all.
Okay, off camera. Okay, camera. Okay, we'll do
Yeah.
it. Okay. All right, you all. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. Have a wonderful remainder of your weekend. Have a great week. Take care of yourselves. See you back here in the other hood next week. So long.